Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of our EuroPeers show on Chaos TV and Chaos Radio. And today we've got with us young people representing the international network. As we've learned from the previous shows, EuroPeers is a network that at the moment operates in some 16 European countries, and we hope to expand that number. And then obviously the young people that we have with us today are going to be quite key actors in succeeding in that mission. And then here today we have with us Biljana, Katarina, and Lauri, and they're going to introduce themselves. And we're going to go in an alphabetical order, and we're going to start with Biljana. Biljana, who are you and where are you currently based?
Hello, as you said, and you correctly pronounced my name, so thank you. My name is Biljana. I'm Serbian by nationality, but currently, let's say more, now it's the 4th year, I'm living in Italy, in Milan. And I'm Italian NA Youth Steering Group member.
Okay, moving on to Katarina. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you and where are you currently based?
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Katarina. I'm also Serbian by nationality, but unlike Biljana, I live in Serbia for the moment, and I am one of the members of the EuroPeers International Steering Group as a youth member.
Okay, and moving on to our third guest today.
I am Lauri. I'm based in Helsinki, Finland. I'm born and bred in Helsinki, so living in my hometown after spending a few years abroad and representing Finland in the steering group.
Okay, thanks guys. Okay, I'm gonna dive in straight into my questions. Again, starting with Biljana. Biljana, what is your connection to EuroPeers and how did you first get involved in the network?
I like to consider myself having double role. First role is that I'm a member of EuroPeers Italy network. That was launched 2019, so 2 years ago, and we are a young network, but now we are running a training course, which I will talk a bit more later. And I'm also in the steering group together with my colleagues and the NA officers of different European NA agencies. And the first time that I discovered about EuroPeers network, generally speaking, it was 2018 when I went to the European Parliament in Strasbourg for the European Youth event. And that was the moment when I was like, gosh, I would really, really like to have EuroPeers in Italy as well. And then 1 year after, it happened.
It's funny that you mentioned the European Youth event in 2018 because likely we have crossed paths because I was also there.
No way.
So there's a strong possibility that we were in each other's proximity back in 2018 because I took a delegation of EuroPeers from the UK, 10 EuroPeers, to go to the Parliament and deliver a workshop on Erasmus Plus in the context of Brexit.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I was in an Italian team. At the time, I was European Voluntary Service, EVS. So we had a delegation, and we also delivered a workshop on Euroscepticism in the European Parliament. It was marvelous, and hopefully this year we will go together, right? We will be together.
That's great. Crossed. That's right. Just for the viewers and the listeners of Chaos TV, European Youth Event under normal circumstances takes place every 2 years, and because of COVID last year, it had to be moved, had to be postponed until 2021, and it was just announced recently that the Parliament would like to run it in a hybrid capacity, meaning that part of the event will take place face-to-face, hopefully. That's scheduled for the 8th and 9th of October, 2021. And obviously, EuroPeers UK and EuroPeers International will work on perhaps delivering a workshop to participants. Okay, back from that tangent on the European Youth event, but that's quite wonderful. It's kind of goes to show that it's a small world.
Yes, it's like I like to to think about it like a destiny. I mean, that was the exact moment when I said, I would really like to have the network in Italy. And then it happened. And then I entered together with Adriana Di Conca, that I'm saying hi this moment, my colleague, who is with me in the steering group. And now, we are leading our EuroPeers Italian network to grow and to strengthen the connections. And hopefully we'll also go, they will also have a possibility to go to Strasbourg in October. As you mentioned, it was postponed because the European Parliament, in my opinion, would really like to have this hybrid event. And if I understood correctly, it will whether take place in presence, and it also will allow participants to follow it online. So it will be a double participation allowed. So really, fingers crossed, and let's hope that we will meet in Strasbourg.
Okay, back to my questions. Katarina, moving on to you. How did you first heard about EuroPeers, and what is your connection to the network now?
Well, it's actually an interesting story because I was a European Solidarity Corps volunteer at that time in France. And that was already the time when we were in pandemic and we switched to the activities online. And it was, I would say, some kind of a destiny that through some Facebook posts, I discovered that the EuroPeers network, alongside European Solidarity Network, is organizing WhatsApp conversations for European Solidarity Corps volunteers who were at that time across Europe. And I was thinking, should I sign up for this just to see what it is about? Because at the time I was really missing a connection with other volunteers, and I really wanted to see what other people were going through. And I participated in 2 conversations such as this, and that was the first time when I heard about EuroPeers, because one of the facilitators of those conversations was a youth member, and she explained what EuroPeers are, what do they do, and they suggested us to follow them on Facebook and just keep up with their updates, what are they doing, and I really liked what you were doing. I found it very interesting, especially because in my case, EuroPeers doesn't exist in Serbia at this moment. So I wouldn't have found out about the network if there wasn't pandemic, now that I'm thinking about it all the way back. And I really wanted to find a way how to connect with the network in any way possible. And actually turned out that as soon as I finished my volunteering project in July, I heard there was a call for the steering group. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I should give it a try. Maybe this is a way to start and go. And that's when I started reading about the network. What have you been doing? What could be done? And I really, really love the idea of just connecting people who went through that unforgettable exchange opportunity abroad, and just to continue sharing our stories so that we can inspire even more people to go through this unforgettable change. And that's what I wanted to do. So I tried, I applied, and when I was selected, I was given this unique opportunity to represent Serbia and to work on establishing the network back home in my country. And that is something that puts me in a very unique position. And I'm very happy that this opportunity was given to me in spite of not having that previous engagement as before. But I understood what the network was all about, and I'm very happy to be here today.
And moving on to Lauri, what is your connection to EuroPeers, and what was the decision behind getting involved in the network?
Well, I did my voluntary placement, my EVS placement in Brussels in 2018. And as I was researching and doing that, I discovered that there were really very few opportunities for young people with disabilities like myself at the time. I'm not that young anymore, but anyway. Yeah, so when I got back after having had this great experience in Brussels, I figured that I would like to spread the word somehow. And then after getting back, I did some research on how exactly I could maybe try and get more people involved in participating in these activities, because unfortunately not many people do in Finland, and even fewer people with disabilities. So I thought I would sort of try and see what I could do to get the ball rolling on that. And then I discovered EuroPeers, applied for a training, took part in a training in Germany, in Hanover, in the autumn of 2018, and that was it. And now I find myself in the steering group on this journey with all of you guys. So that's fantastic.
And then you and I, Lauri, we met in the Netherlands in 2019.
Yes, we did. We did a network meeting in Utrecht. Seems like a lifetime ago now.
It really does. And just the joy of working with young people and working face to face. I always nowadays wonder about, the importance of that sort of reconnection, because we've been doing everything online. But just the very thought of the possibility of meeting young people face to face fills me with this sort of level of joy that nothing else does, really. It's just the opportunity to be able to interact with the young people that you've known for a while, only in an online capacity. It just gives me some hope. That's where I get my hope from.
And really, just being in the same room with more than 2 people at once would be nice. But we'll get there, I'm sure.
And there were some 60 of us, I believe, because we had members of EUSN as well, European Solidarity Network. There was a big meeting that we had in Utrecht. So I look forward to that. Right. Okay, moving swiftly on to one of my questions that I have for you guys, as I've gathered you here today. You mentioned the steering group, the EuroPeers steering group, this sort of mystical creation that has existed for some time now. What do you think is the significance of the youth-led approach within EuroPeers network and in youth networks in general? I think we see nowadays a lot of different organizations, a lot of different corporations even, having a youth board. So having a selected group of young people that advises the senior members of staff within that particular company or organization. What do you think is the significance of a youth-led approach for us, for EuroPeers internationally? And again, I'm going to start with Biljana.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I had that question yesterday in the training course that we are having with the facilitators and trainers in order to establish and implement the EuroPeers Italian network. And there was exactly this question. EuroPeers and youth leading approach. Why is it important? What does it mean? Why are we here? We are here because we are actually the youth generation. We are close to the youngsters, whether when it comes to dreams, hope, and passion. I think that also passion is the key word. And it's like when you are no more a child, you start, forgetting that feeling that you had when you were a little. So this is maybe that is happening to the senior staff members, going with the age, they of course, start forgetting, okay, how was it when you were young? And also the generations are changing. Now we are having more and more, social media influence. Now everything is mostly on social, also thanks to the pandemic. We are using a lot Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Zoom, Slack, and so on. And there is a need of us who are belonging to youth steering group, to say what are the new ways to motivate? What are the new ways to bring connection? Because we are there. And it's not that, for example, NA officers, senior NA officers, they don't want to help the youth. It's just, that the language changed. And now we are passing to them a new way of communication. So we are passing and connecting the ideas. and initiatives and collaborations, whether between different countries, different nations, different organizations. So what are we doing in the steering group? We are connecting. We are a bridge. We are not there because NA officers don't have connection to the youngsters. We are just there to overcome that potential gap that it can be. And we are there to cooperate and to collaborate and to go forward together.
Lauri, I'm going to amend the question for you slightly. Still the same question, however, because you've been a member of EuroPeers for a while, before it had a steering group, before it had an international coordinator. What has changed, and has the change been for the better in terms of the youth-led engagement?
I think it certainly has, in that I think it's simply easier for young people to approach people more like them, and how to go about going on, say, a mobility project. And I find that it's easier for them to talk to me, since I've done it only a couple of years ago, and it's still fresh in my memory. And they find that they can sort of talk to me in a more kind of confidential environment, where since we're closer to each other in age and life experience, it's perhaps easier for them to talk to me than it would be to, say, an NA employee. In terms of what's changed with the steering group is that I think we now have a group of young people willing to take the network forward. And I feel that our voices are really being listened to, and that there is a network, really. It's not just about NAs talking to each other randomly and kind of seeing if there's anyone out there. But nowadays, we know that there's a port of call. There's someone we can contact if we have a problem or a question or a suggestion. And that I think is the most important change, the sort of dynamism about the whole process, of wanting to take it forward, and in a way, sort of taking the whole thing more seriously, upping our game a notch.
I like that, upping our game a notch. I also never underestimate also how important having fun is within the context of youth work, and within the context of working with people that you just simply enjoy spending time with. I remember I'd known this old scout leader here in East London, still around. And he would always ask me, like, we would see each other like twice a year at some gathering, and he would always ask me this: but are you still having fun doing this? You know, you're a volunteer. It's your time, it's your experience. You're lending your experience to the organization so that then it could be shared and inspire others. But it's still your experience and belongs to you. Are you happy with the way things are, going? Are you happy with the way that your experience is going? Are you having fun? Is a very important question. It's also a quote from a song by a band, REM. Are you having fun? Anyway, tangent. Thank you for all those very candid answers. And I agree. And then I think, Lauri, you said something very important. It's great to have a youth-led approach as an organization, as a network, but it only makes sense if the young people are truly listened to. And there's not that element that I feel I see around quite a bit, of simply being tokenistic and simply sort of being able to just say, oh, we have a youth board. So what? What have they done? Have they actually impacted your work? Have they informed your work? Have they actually had a voice? Have you given them a voice? And I think in the case of EuroPeers, it's a young people's network, and the national agency coordinators and national agencies for Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps are there for obvious reasons, but it's young people. It's the young people that are the most important actors in the whole thing. So thank you for these answers. In line with what we said about being hopeful and having activities and using this time really to our benefit, and really making the most out of the fact that we can work together, we can still gather online, we can do planning for when we meet face to face. But largely in our work, a lot of the work will still be done online. So if we learn our lessons now, it will have a lasting impact. What initiatives do you think the EuroPeers network will have come out as a result of COVID? So what are the lessons learned for the network? The three of you have been part of one such initiative that kind of came as a result of the whole pandemic situation, which was the EuroPeerathon, in which I was somewhat involved in behind the scenes. But it was the young people that were leading it. EuroPeers from the UK and EuroPeers International. We had Anna and Nathan as their hosts. We had a range of guests spread across 3 days. What such similar activities you think that you could sort of pull off as a steering group after the pandemic is done? Okay, over to you guys.
Yes, as you said, EuroPeerathon was very significant in different ways. Whether when it comes to Italy, it was the first time that Italy went when its participants of EuroPeers Italy network. And I remember, the joy and how they were preparing everything and enthusiasm. And after EuroPeerathon, how you just feel, immense joy, and that we were all together and sharing, our stories, learning new words in different languages. So it pulled some new connection, and I think that when this pandemic happens, we will remember how hard we worked, for example, for the EuroPeerathon, and it was online, and it did not take not for a second the enthusiasm of participation in it. So after, I would like to connect it immediately with the European Youth event. That I think that they immediately learned the lesson, because not everybody was able to participate in European Youth event 2018, and now we got it. And if everything goes well, of course, fingers crossed, in October we will have it whether in presence, whether live, because now we learned. Not everybody who is not there doesn't want to be there. Maybe people would like to be there, youngsters, but they just didn't have opportunity. They couldn't book a flight. It couldn't come because of 10 other, lists in agenda. So now I think it will be, everything double. It will be the same work. It will be done once, but it will be broadcast, worldwide. So about the European Youth events, even youngsters who didn't know about it, now it will be, all around. And then it will motivate them even more to say, oh gosh, this year I couldn't make it, but in 2 years, I will set it like a priority. And it's about setting priorities, and it's about learning by doing. And I would like to thank pandemic for that, because we learned a lot by doing, and we will be ready, COVID, after you.
Okay, Katarina, anything to add to that?
Yes, I would like to add, because EuroPeerathon for me was the first official event as a EuroPeer, so it was really nice to see that EuroPeer spirit felt even in my room across the screen, because in spite of the situation, we were still able to be brought together in this one space to enjoy these different activities, to just meet each other and talk, to connect with other young people across Europe. And that's really amazing thing for me, because it was the first moment when I finally realized just what EuroPeers are all about, just how big the whole initiative really is. And that's something that really brought me this feeling of, wow, this is really cool. I want to be a part of this even more, to see these other changes that will be brought.
Okay, terrific. And last but not least, Lauri?
Well, as the others have already said, if we learn to complement physical events with virtual events, our reach increases exponentially. And I think that's what that's part of what we're all in this to do. We're here to reach people and talk to them. And I think anything that enables us to reach more people and have hopefully a meaningful impact on their lives is a positive thing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. All right, I got a couple more questions for you guys because I would like to wrap this up so that we are sort of nicely on schedule and everything. And this is one of those questions that I keep asking myself pretty much on a weekly basis as I work with a range of young people across London and across Europe. But it applies to every single young person. And the question is this, how should organizations and networks get young people motivated enough so that the young people continue to get involved in the activities that that organization or network organizes? So what is the key to motivating young people in sort of nowadays, pandemic days and post-pandemic days? How do you get young people motivated, basically, is the question. What do you think?
I would say two things which are connected, interconnected, like interstellar. Engaging them into activities, but truly engaging them. And how do you do that? By giving them responsibility. Because by giving them responsibility, you are saying, here it is. There is a project, create it, run it. You decide with how many young people do you want to run it? Who is the target? What do you want to do? I will finance you, but by giving you funds and everything, you should know that you are accepting also the responsibility for the work that you said that you would like to do. So we have to work more. We have to give more responsibility to the youngsters. We have to actually include them. You tell them, I will help you, to your dreams come true, but you are the first one who has, to wake up and say, this is my dream, I want to work on it. Engaging and motivating and giving responsibility. That would be my answer, Olga.
Okay, Katarina, what is your take on, motivating young people?
I agree with Biljana by saying that it's really important to give young people opportunities to actually be involved in the organization, in the actual existing project, by being open to their ideas, because they are definitely full of ideas and they just need the space and opportunity. And of course, who really want to put young people in the first spot, like, you are the leader, you can do what you want to do, this is your activity, this is for young people by young people. And it's really important to have that touch and that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, and Lauri, what do you think about this whole business of motivating young people and keeping them motivated?
Well, I think most of it's already been said. I too agree that it's very important for young people to be allowed to take ownership of their own projects. They need to believe in what they're doing, just as anybody would, really, and without wanting to be ageist. That's why I always have a bit of a chuckle to myself when I hear people in their 50s and 60s discuss youth strategies entirely amongst themselves. It doesn't, I think that kind of misses the mark. It's really important to involve young people in decisions that have an impact on their lives. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the job of older people like myself to provide guidance and empower people if necessary, but let them own what they do, let them form a relationship with what they do, let them fall in love with what they do, if you will. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, then I think the rest takes care of itself.
I'm older than you, so like I'm the oldest one, I think, in this particular group, but I could not agree more about knowing your place and knowing your role as someone who has been through it, and there may be in a slightly different stage in their life, but there's a huge value in providing just guidance and advice. That's what I always say to the young people I work with. I'm there, no matter what. You can always get in touch with me and get my thoughts on things that matter to you. As for me, I think the role is to provide those opportunities and provide pathways of engagement and put things in place so that young people can get involved, put activities in place, promotional events, whatever that might be, so that there's immediate ways for young people to get involved. I think this is one of those key things that we do with the national agency colleagues. Also, having a follow-up activity. So having training courses and training opportunities is great, but it's no good if you can't put it into a good use immediately after, because you will lose that momentum. You will lose out that energy that you had meeting young people that are like-minded and are sort of on the same page with you, wanting to share their activities. You have to have activities in place for young people to keep them involved and keep them sort of focused on what they would like to accomplish as members of these networks, because everybody's going to have slightly different goals, but we, as a community, we can help one another to accomplish those goals. All right, I'm aware of the time. A couple more things. One of the questions is for you all, and this is a question about your ongoing projects that you would like to plug. This is the space to do it. You can drop your Instagram handles, Twitter, Facebook, all that, websites, anything exciting that you guys have going on that you'd like to share with the audience listening and watching Chaos TV. Off you go.
Katarina, would you like to go first this time? Say the alphabet order.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Of course, if Olga agrees.
That's fine.
Okay, so for me, as I said, I am a part of the EuroPeers international network because I'm working on establishing the network back home in Serbia by talking more about the network, what it can provide, what it is, because not many people even know what EuroPeers is. So I am approaching local organizations who are working with volunteers and young people in general by sending them to Erasmus Plus exchanges or volunteering or training opportunities. And because I see them as the first line of people who really should know about this, and they would really benefit if their own young people are trained as EuroPeers and help them actively in promoting these activities, because that's certainly something that I am doing for my organization Azbuki, which is based in Niš, and we are planning a series of presentations talking about my own experience with volunteering in Europe and how young people can get involved and what are the possibilities with this. So I'm actively using my experience as I'm going with EuroPeers to directly share with my country what am I doing, and just through my own optimism and enthusiasm, I would like to get more people interested to do this, to get involved with it, because this is something that we really need. And almost any volunteer that I talk with, they often say that this opportunity should be more important, that they are not promoted enough. And it's mostly something that's discovered by accident because someone said it to you, or you found some website randomly, and not because there is some place, some space where you can directly get that information. And if we join together, I think that we can really improve the situation for young people of Serbia and also the Balkan region, because we are kind of in a similar situation, more or less. So that's something that I really look forward to in the upcoming months. What about you, Biljana and Lauri? What are you working on?
Oh, well, I'm engaged in the super well organized training course that was launched by the Italian National Agency, and thanks to the General Director, Lucia Vinante, who really gave us all her support. It was launched on 7th of February, and now we are running it on weekdays, on weekends. And when we are having, discussions with our members, and when I see that they are questioning, themselves, okay, what are we going to do? Why are we here? What is the, the true vision and mission and the significance of the EuroPeers? It's, of course, the EuroPeers are based on storytelling, that you try to remember when was the moment when you really felt that you would like, to inspire and to engage others. For me, it was, in 2 cases, it was a Model to Dream, the first event of the National Agency I participated, 2017, when I was EVS. And then it was European Youth event. Then I understood that I want more, that I would like to become the EuroPeers. But there is another point. In this way or another, we'll find a way, but cooperation and the spirit, international spirit, I don't want to say any more European because projects are funded by the European Commission, etc. But the cooperation is international and nothing will stop it. So that's it.
I'm with you on that, definitely. Okay. In terms of continuing cooperation between young people here in the UK and elsewhere in Europe, which EuroPeers UK are leaders of currently in the UK. Okay, Lauri, any projects of yours you'd like to share at this particular forum?
Of mine, no, but EuroPeers International has a pretty interesting training opportunity coming up toward the end of March.
I was hoping you were going to mention it. Thank you very much. Could you tell us a little bit more about that opportunity?
Well, we're running a training together with our partner network, sister network, whatever you want to call it, the European Solidarity Network, on basically how to better engage young people when it comes to staying informed and informing others about mobility opportunities and spreading the word of your own experiences. And I think it'll be a great success. We're working hard on it, and we can't wait to share more with you. But there'll be more of that coming down the pike, I'm sure. That's
absolutely.
So
there will
stay
be.
tuned.
And for any updates on that, the best place to look is on Facebook, on EuroPeers International Facebook page, which is gaining more and more followers each day and is a great resource for all international opportunities within the network and beyond, just in general in Europe. So I do encourage you, the viewers and listeners, to follow that website.
When we know, you'll know.
Exactly. And then I always encourage viewers at this stage, toward the end of the interview, to follow EuroPeers UK on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All great social media outlets where we share a lot of the information from within EuroPeers International, but also our own opportunities here in the UK. So keep your eyes peeled. Do check out our website, www.europeers.uk. And also do follow our newsletter because it comes out once a month. The next one, I think, is coming out on the 26th of February. And we have a wonderful young person working on it, and there will be a lot of new content, also including opportunities. So do follow what's coming out within our newsletter. You can subscribe on our website, and we'll see you there. We will also include links to the projects mentioned by young people here in this group at the end of this call. All right, I'm going to stop recording now, unless you have any burning desire to share anything else.
Maybe the annual meeting.
Fine. All right. And then in terms of the international activities that we have going on, we already mentioned the European Youth Event, but this is something organized by the European Parliament in Strasbourg. In the context of EuroPeers International, we have something called our annual network meeting or European network meeting. And as I mentioned before, Lauri and I met at the 5th European meeting in Utrecht. And we have one coming up in Italy, hopefully, this year.